This is Lewis Hart for Boxing Social in association with Empire Fight Store 4-star Stout. Delighted to be joined with Stephen Smith. We're here, big night on Friday night. Charlie Edwards takes on Georges Ory. Your first fight together. Excited for Friday night and see the return, I suppose. He said don't call it a comeback, but it is the return of Charlie Edwards.
I am, mate. I'm really excited. I think it's a good showcase for him to go and show what we've been working on, and show how much he's in a good place, and he's ready to show how good he is. That he's planning on being a 2-8 world champion and go and show that he can still do it.
Obviously, with Charlie, I think it's fair to say he probably would have liked to have been more active over these past couple of years. This is the first fight that he wants to get the ball rolling now and being active. How do you deal with a fighter that isn't active, I suppose, not as fighting as regular as they would have wanted to be?
Yeah, listen, when it's sort of out of his hands and it's not anything to do with what he could have changed, then it's not something that I can go into really. It's sort of, he had a bit of issues outside the ring where people basically stopped him from fighting, and that's not nice, but you sort of got to manage the frustrations and get him back fresh, get him back fighting, and that's what we've done. He's put a really good camp in, and he's in amazing shape. He's ready to go and show how good he is. It's now sort of letting him off the lead now and go and do it. You know what I mean? I've just been holding him back now and keeping him fresh, and he's ready to go and to show how good he is and show the improvements he's still making. And that's the mad thing about it. As professional as he is and as dedicated as he is, he's still improving. He's still getting better, and he's got the chance now to go and show that, and he's got the platform now to do it.
For sure. And you mentioned there about sort of outside issues. He's been very open about his issues with previous trainer with Joe Gallagher. Not necessarily going on to that, but how important is it as a trainer that you install the faith and trust in him again and get that connection where easily he probably would have had trust issues after that whole ordeal?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, he's been through a lot with that, and the fact that he was stopped from fighting is never nice for a fighter. I'm a former fighter myself, and I've had issues where I've been in sort of court cases and stuff, and it's not nice going through stuff like that. And to have that happen to him was, again, it was something that he's been through, and he's putting it behind him now, and I've just got to basically show him that I'm on the same team, and I only want to better his career, I only want to better himself, and I want to help him get to his goals of being a world champion again.
Absolutely, for sure. And I suppose Charlie isn't the only fight that you've got out this weekend. You've obviously got Ste Clarke as well. I suppose it's been nice to be busy, working towards a whole weekend, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, when you start sort of coaching, I had a break from boxing and I had a break doing nothing, and accepted that I didn't box no more. And I think now I want to be busy, That's what I want to be. I want to be doing different shows and stuff, and the fact that I'm down here Friday night in London and I'm going to be heading to Manchester for Saturday for Steve, it's good, it's exciting, but it's exactly what I wanted.
I was going to say, what's it been like, I suppose, the coaching journey so far for yourself? How have you enjoyed that journey so far? I suppose being still fresh. I suppose you said November was when you got the license. So still being a fresh coach, is something that you're enjoying so far?
Yeah, I love it. Really, I think it was a natural progression for me where I've always had a good eye for boxing and a good interest in it, and I do feel like this was the logical next step for me. And I think now I've gone in them 2 footers, I'm all in on the coaching. You want to be busy, you want to be able to sort of, be on these type of shows and have fighters on the shows and just help them basically, achieve their goals and be the best. If I can add to Charlie Edwards' game, then it's been worthwhile for it.
And from being a former fighter yourself, dealing with all different trainers, all the different coaches, what were main inspirations for your methods behind being a trainer?
Yeah, listen, I try and take a lot from all of the coaches. I watch now, and I've got more of an eye for the coach now than I do sort of maybe the fighting side of it. But I like to look for things and see how they assess certain situations and how they deal with certain things, and even looking tactically at things and whether I agree with what they say and stuff. And I like, I'll be a hands-on coach. I do think my methods will be a bit different to some others where, I'll be in the boxing gym and I'll be also at the running track with them, and I want to know what my fighters doing, because I think you'd have a good assessment of how fresh they are then. I don't want them, I'll never burn a fighter out, I'll never overtrain a fighter, and I think I've seen things like that in the past where I wouldn't let that happen to my fighters. I'll make sure that when my fighters get in that ring, they'll be fresh and they'll be ready to give it all they've got.
Is there also an importance of, I'm sure in your pro career you made mistakes in your career, and understand that will also happen as a coach as well?
Yeah, you gotta get it, and listen, I'm not one of them who'll tell you, listen, if you haven't boxed, you can't coach. And I'm not telling you that, like, because you've boxed, it means you're a good coach. It genuinely doesn't. But I do believe me boxing experience is helping me at being a coach, because I've got a good eye for both sides now, and I've been sat on the stool now, and I'm stood in the corner. It is a good sort of experience to have, and knowing that I've been through certain situations, what my fighters going through, even stuff like making weight and stuff like that. I've got good knowledge of it all, so I can always help my fighters and make sure that when that bell goes, they're in as good a shape as they can be.
Absolutely. Stephen, I did want to ask you about your brothers, obviously Callum and Liam. Starting on Callum, bit unsure on what Callum and Liam's future are, but on Callum, I suppose he's always there's been a hint of potential retirement. From being his brother, I suppose what do you think is next for Callum now?
Listen, he's getting married June the 1st, and ironically it's the same day as Bivol, so I think that fight's going to have a big tell on what's next for Callum. If that's a bit of a landslide, or better be able to knock him out or whatever, then moves up and waiting for his divisional, then I think Callum wants to be a 2-weight world champion, so he'll come back and try and win one. If it's a good fight, competitive fight, and then there's a rematch down the line and stuff, and it ties the divisional, then I don't know whether he's got the ambition to go and have these like domestic fights people are talking about. I think he's more goal set on being a 2-weight world champion, and he'll do whatever he's got to do to get to there. But if that's not sort of the end goal, I don't think he's got the ambition for the domestic fights.
That's completely fair enough. I did want to ask, there was a couple of weeks ago, I suppose about a month ago, there was rumours of the potential Anthony Yard fight that I suppose was leaked ideally from the Yard side, from Tunde. I think Paul had a bit of a pop at Tunde on Twitter, and you just said there Callum's getting married on June 1st, so complete nonsense, would you say?
Yeah, that's what it was. We were seeing all kinds of rumours, and then, as I said, the Hart trainer was saying like that Callum, why won't Callum fight, or call them out? Well, I don't know what it was. I don't really look into it, I don't watch much, but he's getting married on June the 1st, so he's not going to be on that far bill, and that's just like how it is. It's just personal life comes first, and as I say, he's getting married, so he will not be on that bill no matter how much money he's put to. I think he's happy, he's done well out of sport, he doesn't really need the money. So I do think, again, as I say, he's going to get married, he's going to watch that fight, and then he'll assess what his plans are and what his options are, and set about them becoming a 2-weight world champion, or if he makes the decision he'll go into retirement, it's entirely up to him.
Completely fair enough. As for Liam as well, I did speak to Joe McNally about a couple of weeks ago in Birmingham. He sort of said, he's still sort of dealing with issues with his back injury, but something that he was really interested in was the Eubank trilogy. We don't know what offers are on the table for Eubank. Definitely not a Conor Ben fight, but ideally, do you think you could see Liam Smith versus Chris Eubank Jr. 3?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think it's the best option for both of them. Trilogies in boxing are good and they're always exciting, and with that sitting at 1-1 now, and again, we'll say it all the time, I don't think Liam should have had that last fight. He was never in a position to fight, but even in the shape he was in, it still took Eubank longer to do than what Liam done to Eubank in the first one, so it sets it up nicely for the trilogy, and sitting at 1-1, it's a fight I'm sure people are buying to and people want to see. If Liam's at his best, he beats Eubank again, so we would like that from our side, but Liam's got plenty of options on the table. He's been laughing over it, the fact that he's trying to get himself sorted and get rid of this back injury. So he's actually back in the gym now. But his goal was getting himself healthy and getting himself fit. And he was laughing, saying how many offers he was getting. He was getting offers left, right, and centre. And whether that's on the back of a bad performance or whether that's because people think no he's injured, I don't know. But he's back in the gym now, so he'll be making a couple of calls about these offers and then seeing what's actually legit.
Absolutely. Another fight I did want to ask yourself about, obviously Josh Taylor is heavily involved in the return days in there and out. I'm sure you've bumped shoulders with him many a times. He's obviously fighting Jack Catterall in a rematch in about a month's time from now, just over a month's time now. I suppose from seeing glimpses of Josh in the gym, how excited are you for that rematch and I suppose the ill-tempered rematch?
Yeah. Listen, there's a lot going on in the build-up with it, isn't there? And look, I think I was the same as everyone in the first one. I didn't expect the first fight to go how it did, to be honest with you. I do rate Josh Taylor, rate him highly. But the tempers are flaring high now in this, in the build-up for this rematch, and it's going to be interesting to see who can sort of keep the cool and who can stick to a game plan going into that fight, because again, they definitely don't like each other. It's not one of them where you could look at it and say, oh, they're trying to sell tickets or they're trying to make a build-up. You know, they genuinely do hate each other. And, you know, we've seen that when it happened when I think it was Ben Shalom sat them at ringside by each other and they both went for each other. They don't like each other, so it's a fight what's got people gripped to, and it's exciting. But I do think it'll be largely based on who can keep their head and who can stick to the game plan. I think if Josh can set a good tempo and get going and use legs a bit, I think he's the favourite in the fight. But I think Jack showed last time that he can draw them into a fight and he can use his attributes. Then, you know, he can go and win the fight like last time. You know, he shocked a lot of people, but by scoring the knockdown, landing the shots, he was impressive last time out. So it's a good fight. It's one I'm looking forward to watching, and I think it's got people bought into it because again they don't like each other. So I'll be looking forward to watching it.
That is one thing you mentioned there. There is pure hatred between the two, and looking at it on the Josh side of you, because I think it's more Josh hates him. Do you know what I mean? Josh obviously hates him as well, but you know they do hate each other. So from a fighting point of view, how important is it that a constitute professional like Josh is, and a guy who's been involved in high pressure environments, how difficult is it that he keeps his head on sort of the straight and narrow and focusing, you know, just focus on beating him? You know what I mean? That's the most important thing.
Listen, don't get me wrong, Jack doesn't like Josh. Josh doesn't like Jack. You can see that from the way they are, the way they speak about each other. And I think, you know, Jack feeling so hard done through the first time round, he'll hate Josh naturally anyway. Like, although it's not his fault, he didn't judge the fight, you still sort of don't like someone for a bad decision. It's just what you like in boxing, it's how you are. And with all the personal stuff that's gone on in the build-ups, they don't like each other. But that's what I'm saying about my opinion. I think the person who keeps a cool head on the shoulders going into that fight will be the favourite, because I think anger and sort of trying to get tied up in a fight, I think goes against whoever goes in there with a hot head. I don't think that works in this fight with all the, you know, the rivalry and the build that's gone on. I do feel sticking to a game plan, and you know the coaches will be involved in this fight, you know, and who can even maybe change tactics mid-fight sometimes, because that can happen. You know, we've seen that in the first one. Josh got put down and had to try and adjust because he realised he can't keep going in low with Jack, and it's one of them things where I think there'll be tactical adjustments in this fight, and the one with the clean head will excel in my opinion, because I think it's going to be one of them fights where it's going to be a good atmosphere, and it's going to be easy to sort of meet in the middle and have a fight, because again, you know, with the dislike there, that'll be one of them where you may as well just send them in and let them have a fight and see who wins. But if someone can adjust the tactics, I think they become favourite.
Absolutely. Stephen, just want to say thank you for taking time to speak to me. Always good to catch up with you. Yeah, I suppose all the best for Friday and all the best for Saturday as well, mate. Top man, thank you. Cheers, mate.